going on, everybody? It's Jay here from NFS, here for another video on Dungeons and Dragons. Now, my last video that I made, you saw a pretty different picture, and unfortunately, I was being a moron and I didn't spell dungeons right. And I decided to make a whole new one, and actually, I love the look of this one. It's simple, and to me, it's a lot better than it should be. So this video I want to cover on world building. This will be one of the few videos I do specifically on world building, and I want to talk about the cities and locations as well as the geography of the world you're building. So a lot of times people, when they're creating a campaign or they're creating a world to use for their D&D game, they oftentimes don't know where to start, and I want to focus on something specific when you're doing that, and that is geography. You want to know where the mountains are, where the swamps are, where the forests are, where the deserts are. Whatever you want to put in your world, you want to have a relative location for each of those. Now, what I often do is what you see for this picture here. I use paint. I use standard paint, and I go and I create something that I like, and I keep editing it until I think I'm finished. And oftentimes when you do that, when you make a world, you're never finished. I found myself that I've had to expand it over time for the new stories and as the campaign was going out. And with your geography, you also got to figure out who's going to live in these areas. You want to look at the different descriptions for whatever monsters or races that live in that area. For example, elves. Elves like to typically live in forest areas, or at least very, I would think, temperate climates. Good example would be the Northwest United States, where you have lots of forest, some kind of rain, but still forested area, majorly forest. Sometimes you can. Galadrians is another example. I think Galadrians, being known as more the High Elves, are probably more constructive with materials instead of just living in forests and such. And Goliaths are probably not going to have cities. Humans are probably going to have cities though, and you got to figure out where you got to put or where you want to put these cities, and when you do that, also figure out what their moods are, and I'll go into NPCs and populations later on. When you're thinking about geography and putting in these cities or these locations where people are living, try to build it off of what would be available in those areas. Do some research on what kind of desert or what kind of materials can come out of the desert. A good example, Egypt in our world. You can see that Egypt uses a lot of limestone. So you can create a city with whatever population, let's just say humans, for example, and they've utilized large pockets of limestone, excuse me, to build their cities. So when you use that, you know, look at the geography and look at what you can make the city out of. I'll give you a better example. So my campaign that I'm personally running here at my college, they recently went to the elemental chaos, and I don't want to go into what the elemental chaos is, but there's a city there called the City of Brass, and what it is, how I described it is I had to think of what materials could be used in a fiery area and to build these cities, and I utilized obsidian and lots of other materials. So it's very important that you figure out what uh, material your cities are going to be made out of, how they got these materials, and stuff like that. And it's not easy. And you're always going to be editing your world. So just wanted to come out and make a quick little video on World Building Day featuring cities and locations. If you have any questions, be sure to put comments down below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Other than that, have a great rest of the week, everybody. See you later.